Can you take us to the first day as the showrunner for Home Improvement? What was that like? How were you interacting with the writers?
Well, I knew all the writers. I had either worked with them in previous years or had hired them myself. And chances are, if I hired them myself, I had worked with them either, maybe on other shows. So that was all easygoing. But, Home Improvement was like a juggernaut. It was a huge show. And it was a huge responsibility to be the showrunner. And it was my first job as a showrunner. Once I found out that I had the job, I had spent a ton of time prepping for that first day on the job, about how I would handle it, what I would do, what my approach to showrunning would be. And I was lucky because I had had a good mentor. The showrunner before me was Elliot Schoenman, and he had a very precise way of doing it. And so I took a lot from him. And my goal in running a show was to get people excited about their own ideas, everybody else's ideas, and really make it a fun room. And when you make it a fun room and you value the other writers' ideas, great stuff can happen. And so, because I had been in the worst of writers' rooms, and the worst of writers' rooms go like this, where they have 8 writers and 1 showrunner. The showrunner wants to rewrite everything. So all the showrunner wants is people around to spit out stuff and kind of tell him how great he is. And this happens way too often. And at the end of the day, no matter how much work they do in that room, the showrunner is going to take it home by himself and rewrite every word. And so you have a demoralized staff. I had no interest in having a demoralized staff. I wanted other people's contributions, because in comedy, that's what makes it better. Just one person alone can rarely make it as good as a group. There are exceptions. The show Fleabag is apparently written by one person, and she's very talented. But who knows? Maybe Fleabag would be even better if she had a staff. You don't know.
So how long were you the showrunner?
For 3 years.
Okay. And what was the latest you and your group worked, your team of writers?
There would be occasional really late nights, and for us, a really late night might be midnight. There are rooms that go later than that. But we always, the thing that I strove for as a showrunner was no weekends in the room. Because I had kids, I had a wife, I wanted to spend time with them. And when I was doing shows, even working for other people, I didn't really mind that much working the late nights during the week if I could get those 2 days off with my family. So that was important.
Would you also look at feedback from the audience, and how would you integrate that?
Oh, and Home Improvement was fantastic. They had come up before I even got on the show. They had this whole system down, and nobody else did this at the time. For the Wednesday run-through, we would read the script on Monday, run through the show on Tuesday afternoon, and then run through it again for the network on Wednesday afternoon. And when we did our run-through, we would bring in 20 people from the Universal Tour in folding chairs to watch the run-through. So those people told us what was working and what wasn't working. And then by Thursday night camera run-through, the show was in great shape, and we were good to go on Friday night.
How would they deliver that? Would you sort of do a Q&A with them afterwards?
It was all based on their laughs. It was all based on laughs. It's not, hey, do you like this? If they're laughing, they like it.
That's true. That's true. It's not a sympathy laugh that you could tell they were...
Oh no, you can tell what's going on.
Sure. Having worked on other television shows, you knew you didn't want to, quote, demoralize the other writers. Right. You wanted to make them feel a part of the process.
Sure.
So what were you telling the fellow writers on Home Improvement while you were the showrunner?
Well, I tell them, first of all, to come in with stories, because that's part of their job. The main thing in a show that I run, or any show that is run well, is that nobody from your staff should just shoot down an idea and say, that's not good. That is cardinal rule number 1 of working on a television show comedy. You always have a fix. And even if your fix is not the final one, or maybe not even the best one that you're going to get to, if somebody says, that joke's no good, that writer's not going to last in my room, because that writer has to pitch another joke. That's their job. Or if they don't like a story, they need to think of something that they think is better. So in other words, you just don't be negative. It's all, you come at it to be constructive.
So let's say we're two writers in a
Right.
writer's room, and you pitch a joke and say, and then she falls down at the end. And instead, if I was thinking, wow, that's really bad, instead of me saying it, I would be like, or
What if? That's
what
it.
if? Okay.
What if? The key two words are what if. Yeah, because that way you're not necessarily insulting the last person who pitched, who might be insulted because they might say, oh, wait a minute, mine was great. But they've got to understand that coming into a writer's room, people are going to have a lot of different ideas. And the what if is so much better than the that sucks. So I would trade out the that sucks for the what if.
And so then how would the joke win out? If then another writer over here said, well, wait, what if she does this or whatever? At what point?
That's the showrunner job. You decide when it's good enough, when you like it, and you have to be the final word. So that really is what it means to be a showrunner. Somebody has to have the final word, and somebody's got to take the heat when the network and the studio don't like the show, or the star doesn't like the show. So the showrunner makes the decision, and the star may say, that sucks. And then you have to face the music, how you're going to fix that. But that's part of the gig.
Did you ever get feedback? Let's suppose you were the final say on a joke and you thought it was great and you were so proud, and it backfired on you, and you got letters or people were upset.
When I did this, it was before, Twitter and all this stuff. The letters went to the studios. I never saw the letters, but we would do a final pass. The whole room would do a final pass on a script before it went to the actors at the table on Monday, and we turned in a script that we thought was great. The actors could hate it. The studio could hate it. The network could hate it. Anybody, because it's a subjective business, anybody can like or hate anything. And I've been on shows where the actors, if they read the script in advance or as they're reading it at the moment, if they see a line they don't like, they will tank it. So, in other words, they don't even want this line to have a prayer of winding up in the show. So they read it in such a way to make sure they don't like it and that nobody at the table laughs. So
they sabotage it.
Correct.
Oh, wow. Are you almost grateful that social media, that instant feedback wasn't available, or do you?
I guess so. Yeah. No. Yeah. I don't need social media feedback for pretty much anything. I mean, because remember, we live in a world today where everybody is a pundit. Okay, so you have, millions and millions of experts on what the United States government should be doing and what the president should be doing. And, if you think about our lives before social media, you might read an editorial by a really experienced columnist analyzing the situation and saying, here's what we should do. And then maybe the next week you'd read something by another really well-informed person saying, I don't think so. Now we're getting advice from every single person who has a phone. And you know what? We don't need that. We have plenty of experienced and talented people, and it's great that everybody gets a voice and a part of the conversation. But at a certain point, it becomes like white noise. And that's why so many people get to a point and they say, we're turning it off this week, or we're turning it off forever. I'm off Facebook. I don't have a personal page anymore, or whatever. And they just get burned out on it. And if, and I've experimented with this and not using it for a while. And I would say, and they've done scientific studies, that people who get off social media are happier. So there you go.